Hi there, I'm Andrew. You're watching ThatGamerAjax. Welcome to this week's episode of my D&D Class Basics series, where we just kind of sit down and have an informal conversation regarding the different classes in D&D. So that way, if you're new to the game, or if you've been playing for a while and you kind of want to branch out a little bit, we can just provide some information to you. This week, we're talking about the nature-loving Druid. Druids are a very, very versatile spellcasting class that can focus on using both offensive and defensive magic. You can support your party, and you can turn into animals. So it has a lot of options, but it may be a little complicated starting out. So let's just go ahead and dive right into the strengths of this class. First of all, Druids are an incredibly versatile class. I know that we already kind of touched on this, but they have a very wide variety of spells that they get due to the general connection with nature that they have. These spells can also be swapped out on a daily basis, so every time that your character finishes an 8-hour rest, you can change out some spells that might not be working for you. But because of this, you're probably going to need to know a little bit about what these spells do, so be prepared to just kind of experiment and see what works and what doesn't. Druids have access to a very unique trait that's called Wild Shape. By doing this, you're able to assume the form of an animal, which you can use to either sneak into a place, scout something out, or if you're in combat, just maul somebody as a bear. You never know what you're going to need. Because of this, you're also a little bit tankier than some of the other casting classes. You get a D8 of health per level, which puts you about on par with either a cleric or a rogue. This is a class that also is able to buff itself up during combat by turning into an animal, because that health will replace the current amount that you have. Once that's gone, you'll revert back to your normal shape, which means that really you can tank a few more hits than some of the other classes are able to. Druids are also a great roleplay class because of your overall opinions of nature. Because of this, you're not actually able to handle anything that's really metal, or if you do, you're not going to like it near as much. So make sure that you work with your DM to flavor some of the weapons and armor that you have, so that way it is a little bit more natural based, or it's more either sharp wood or natural leather. Another kind of cool aspect about Druids is that if you put enough levels into this, you essentially become ageless. Your body will age at a much, much slower rate than everybody else. So if you want to bring a character back, years down the line in a separate campaign, you're more than able to do so. Now let's go ahead and get into some of the weaknesses of the Druid class. Unfortunately, Druids are one of the most complicated classes that if you are starting out, you might be a little overwhelmed. You have a lot of spells that you have to track. You have to be able to change those out when you need, and also you have to have unique stat blocks for each of the animals that you turn into. I would personally recommend, if you are able to do a digital character sheet, this might be a much easier way to track the information that you need, and then you'll be able to pull that at any given time. Druids are also a little bit boring when it comes to their leveling. Most of the unique traits that they get are from the circle that you follow, which will be coming much later in the game. Unfortunately, other than that, a lot of what you get is just additional spell slots per level, and eventually your wild shape will become stronger and better, but that's really about all you get. In conclusion, Druids are a very fun class, and I've seen them single-handedly carry parties through any kind of encounter. They have a lot of versatility, but because of this, they are a little bit complicated. I wouldn't personally recommend this to a brand new player. If you have a little bit of knowledge of magic and how to position yourself and how to use spells in certain situations, give this one a shot, and trust me, you will not be disappointed in what you can bring to the table. So I want to go ahead and reach out to the community. Let's get a discussion going. Do you have any tips that you might recommend for new Druid players? And what are some of the coolest Druids that you've ever seen? Comment below, let's get a discussion going, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye.